to the world. Subscribe now to the Hot 97 YouTube channel. It's Ebro in the Morning with Laura Stiles and Rosenberg.
Ebro in the Morning, Laura Stiles, Rosenberg. Give it up for Sabrina Castillo. She's the Director of Partnerships and Outreach at the New York City Campaign Finance Board, and she is now with us talking about NYC Vote. Yes? Today's the day to get your absentee ballot, the last day to get it sent to your house, correct?
That is correct. Thank you guys so much for having me. Today is the last day to request your absentee ballot. You can do that online. It literally takes 2 minutes to do that. But if you are a registered voter and you are still placed in your own home, you should have received it as well. I just want to share that there's never been so many ways to participate. There's early voting. You can vote by mail. You can go in person on election day. And trust me, just last year, none of those things were possible. November was the first time that we had early voting. So this is really the first step in the state stepping up and making sure that we have accessible voting for all.
Now, you've worked part of this group since 2012 for the New York City Campaign Finance Board and also worked with this NYC Votes umbrella. So now that we've covered what people need to do right now, I'd like to understand some things. Why has a state who claims to be so liberal and progressive made voting so hard for so long? And I need names, I need addresses of the individuals who continue to make this hard. No, just specifically names.
Yeah, just specifically names. So there are a couple of things, right? Number one, New York City overall has high registration. We're talking about nearly 80 to 90 in some areas. So I'll give you an example.
For New York City?
From New York City. Yeah, we're talking about New York City. So New York City, the highest voter participation district has like about 90% voter registration. The lowest voter participation district, which is East New York in Brooklyn, I'm just giving an example here, still comes in at like about 87 voter registration percentage. Yet we're talking about 12, 11, 8% turning out. So New York City does not have a voter registration problem. We have a voter turnout problem. Okay. Yes, it has never been made easy in some cases. There are redistricting, there are different ways, but your state assembly and your state senators are the ones that can make that change. City council doesn't make that change. They're progressively always trying to advocate for that. But if you need names, you call your assembly member, you call your state senator, you ask them where they stand. The biggest reform package that happened last fall. And that was, there's a lot of new senators who really pushed a progressive voting reform. We got early voting. We still got work to do. You can register online through the DMV, but there is no online portal for online voter registration. There will be one in 2021. And, so there's still things to be done.
Now, and what about the dates, right? Like the dates are all over the place. Like it'll be like, wait, we're voting again? Why is everything all, June 23rd was a great day. Love it. That's what we're voting in a couple of days. How come we can't just June 23rd it?
Yeah.
Every year.
So now moving forward, the primaries, we will only have one primary. We used to have a primary, you're right, in June, and then another one in September, and depending on what it was. So now there's only one primary. That was also part of that reform package last year. So there's only one primary that you'll be voting. What you've seen right now, a lot of changes had to do with COVID. So we had some special elections for city council members, Queensborough president, and also what's been happening is all of the elections have been pushed back. So Governor Cuomo did an executive order around vote by mail, and all elections were moved to June 23rd. It did take state legislators to be able to come to agree to that and pass that, but it did. So now it's June 23rd. About June 23rding it, I think we'll see how that goes, but the primaries are now all consolidated into one for state and city.
What about the general election? Where do you think we'll be in terms of voting? Will we be voting at a polling place? We'll be able to vote from home. How's the general going to work?
So the general is probably going to work the way this is working right now. So Governor Cuomo, like I said, issued an executive order for June 23rd to vote by mail. That means that they are looking into that, and there's already legislation that could pass as of as soon as they decide to go in and pass that we'll be voting by mail for November. All the legislation that's passed about voting by mail has expired in December, but again, there are advocate groups out there really advocating, like, if we did this once, why can't we just keep doing this? And the truth of the matter is that right now, in response to the killing of George Floyd, in response to COVID, elected officials are making life or death decisions for us, and we need to make sure that we're voting, and then we're letting other people know this, along with not letting people make the decision for us.
Well,
when you don't show up to the polls, that's what's happening.
It's interesting you say that. The same neighborhoods in Queens and the Bronx and Brooklyn that have the worst COVID also have the historically low voter turnout.
Yeah, so what we've noticed in our research is areas that have the highest amount of COVID infections or that type of anything really that we've seen around COVID, anything that has like the highest amount of effects, also has the lowest voter participation. And that just says that we're not being represented in the way that we should be, and people are not going out to vote. 1 in 4 people in New York City are naturalized citizens, and yet they have the lowest voter registration and lowest voter turnout. So, if you look at New York City overall, we need to make sure that the areas where you live, if you want to see this change, you're going out and vote. We support protesting. We understand that's one form of civic engagement. We encourage that. We continue to do that. But also voting is another way to make your voice heard.
So you'll be able to early vote June 13th through the 21st if the mail thing doesn't work out and you don't catch it today.
So if you have, today's your last day to go to nycabsentee.com and request your mail-in ballot. Once you get your mail-in ballot, you'll get, no lie, a long list of instructions. So make sure you follow it. Make sure that you sign everywhere where they say you need to sign, or it will not be counted. And then make sure that you're able to mail it in by June 23rd. So even that was an extension for that. So it has to be mailed in by June 23rd. If for some reason you get your ballot, you change your mind, you can vote at an early voting poll site, which is different than your election day poll site. So go to voting.nyc, make sure you look at the hours. Hours differ every day.
So say that again.
Not an easy process.
Your early voting location is different than your normal voting location.
In most cases, yes.
Okay. And if you register to get an absentee ballot and for whatever reason you don't mail it in, you can still go and vote on voting day.
Yes, you can go on election day and vote.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
We have for the people in the Bronx, you guys have a serious race. You're looking at, we had Jamal Bowman on from Congressional District 16. That's more of a Westchester area, but District
Yonkers.
15 and Yonkers, District 15, you have a Congress seat open, and that's the southeast part of the Bronx, south and east part of the Bronx. In Queens, they're voting for a borough president. I don't know what the options are there. I got to look that up. Let's see. Also, this is also the presidential primary.
Yes.
Which is important because Bernie Sanders is still on the ballot, which will help shape the Democratic platform and bring more progressive ideas into Biden's platform as he becomes the Democratic nominee, because they want to see how much steam and how many people care about what Bernie Sanders was talking about. Correct, Sabrina?
That is correct. Also, 2 points there. If you don't know who's on the ballot, voting.nyc, at the New York City Campaign Finance Board, we produce the official voter guide for the city. So you'll see all the candidates there. Second, South Bronx and the Bronx. Our research shows every pocket of boroughs has low voter participation for 18 to 24 and even 18 to 29. However, what is happening in the Bronx is that the entire Bronx youth population is not showing up. And so if you have pockets in Queens and Manhattan and Staten Island, that's expected. But to see an entire borough stepping down and not coming out to vote between those ages is something that we want to be able to change. Also, I just want to change this narrative, because on the national level, you talk about the youth vote. New York City youth for presidential election shows up 87, almost 90% in some cases. Where they drop off nearly down to under 20% is a municipal election. And next year, New York City is going to have over 500 candidates running for office to making sure that they want to represent the city. So check your primary today. You're still going to have state legislators that are running. They are the ones determining on how your city and your district is going to be shaped, and your state. But also, just don't vote just this year. Make it a yearly habit. Ebro, you're right. It's not as easy. It needs to be better. It needs to be worked on. It's inconvenient at times, but to make that change,
I gotta say, I just went to let's see here. I just went to what was it? NYC Votes.
voting.nyc.
Wow, I went to voting.nyc. Super easy. First thing you see at the top, 2020 primary election voter guide. You scroll down, it says meet the candidates. You click that, and it opens up. It tells you conservative, Democratic, Republican. It breaks it down: president, representative in Congress, member of the Assembly, state senator, Queensborough president. In the for Republicans, they have somebody running at the representative in Congress, a member of the Assembly, and the conservatives, which I guess they're trying to separate themselves from the Republicans right now, member of the Assembly. But it's damn near the same thing. But then, yeah, you can run through and you click on each one. It gives you the candidates. So if you click on Queensborough president, there's a bunch of people here I've never heard before.
My last thing that I have for you, with regard to the things that the Trump administration's been trying to do to say that voting by mail is rigged, it could never work, it's ineffective. What's your response to this narrative that's been created?
You know, there are, it's interesting that you say that, because the reality is that we have states that solely vote by mail: Colorado, Hawaii, Oregon, Utah, Washington. They run their elections entirely by mail, and others have expansive absentee voting. So it is convenient, it is secure, it is effective. If voters do not receive their ballot within the 7 days that they've requested it, you can contact the Board of Elections. They have a number. It's 1-866-VOTE-NYC. You can email absenteejune2020@boe.nyc. So we're happy to put that up so you guys can post about that. But vote by mail, it has the same protections against fraud as it does in person.
I would think these days, with what we're hearing about the lines and the lack of machines and the lack of polling places, I would think voting by mail would be the safest option.
Voting by mail is the safest option. Number one, you get to do it in the comfort of your own home. You can look through the ballot at your own pace. You can read the voter guide if you have any questions there. So yeah, it is the safest. Early voting is next, because you're able to space out your time more, have social distancing, and then just wear your gloves, wear your mask, do all that you can if you go out and vote by mail.
But can we cut the crap, though? The people standing in the way of voting by mail are Republicans and conservatives who want to make it hard for working moms, single parents, people with lower income and transportation issues. They want to make it hard for those people to participate because they don't want them participating in voting. That's why.
Yeah.
There's no other reason.
Well, I mean, yeah, they want less turnout,
We saw what
period.
happened in Atlanta. People were waiting for hours, over 8 hours, trying to vote.
I
You
want
can
to
eliminate all of that by just voting by mail.
two things on that. One, I work for a nonpartisan organization. We want to make sure we represent all. But two, just if you look at our state overall, we have the majority, and especially in New York City, from the Democratic Party. And so I think what we have to do when we're voting is vote for them and keep elected officials accountable. Because I think across parties and across lines, everyone can.
And you know
be
what,
doing
Sabrina,
better.
you're right. I shouldn't have said Republicans. There's Democrats also, and independents, and elite establishment individuals who want to make it hard for the people to actually have a voice.
Right, they want less voting. In general, they know they will benefit from less voting.
That's right. I shouldn't have said that. Sabrina, you're right. You are nonpartisan.
Yeah, but you want to be able to, but just think of the numbers, right? We're talking about a very low, there are over 80% people registered in New York City, and we have a very low amount coming out, especially district to district in the Bronx. So you're right, the Congressional District 15 in the Bronx is a very competitive race. We are making phone calls and text messages to all young people in that area. who are registered to vote. So we want to see those numbers go up. And it's important to just understand that registration is one piece. It's not as convenient. It needs to be better. We know that. We're always advocating to making that process better. There is a petition for online voter registration under OVR. I can share the link for that, because our agency has a platform right now available if the State Board of Elections was able to accept our forms. So there's some college students who are rallying around that. We don't have to wait till 2021. So there are ways to making this better and making sure that we're able to do that. I think we just have to show up to vote. So if you want to vote by mail, get your absentee ballot request in today, send it in before June 23rd, and make sure that you continue to vote in every election, so that you can help each other.
Before I let you go, Sabrina, as far as candidates uploading their information into vote.nyc, when I go into some of the candidates, like we know Michael Blake, his information's not in here, nor is his photo. But I see Ruben Diaz information in there. I see Sameless Lopez information in there. Shavonna R. Newsom's information, and then there's a lot of candidates who don't. Their information's not here. Who's responsible for that? Making sure that this is updated.
Yeah, so we are. So I'll say the New York City voter guide for us is a mandate on a municipal level. So if you'll see that every municipal race, like on the Queensborough, they even have a video. So we give all candidates even an opportunity to record a 2-minute statement. For state and federal, we do outreach, but they're not mandated to send stuff to us. We are continuously trying to get as much information as we can.
Jamal Bowman and Michael Blake, y'all slipping. Your information's not in vote.nyc. When I click on 16th district, not there. Elliot Ingalls' info's there. District 15, Ruben Diaz, he's an establishment guy. He's been there long enough. Ruben, it's time to go sit down, my guy. Sameless got her info in there, though, vote.nyc, and that's 15 and 16.
Yeah, so, we're always working, but on the municipal, because one of the things that we do at the Campaign Finance Board is small matching contribution donations for all municipal elections. So anyone can run for office who wants to in the city, and the city matches $8 for every $1 contribution. So
and that's new, right? That's a new campaign finance thing that was enacted a few years ago, right? That got done.
So the city is ahead because we've been around. I can't remember the exact year, but we've been around since the 80s. It's part of the New York City Campaign Finance Board. So the city has had this. It recently went up from $6 to $8 matching contribution. So it allows for people to be able to run for office without having big money behind them. That's right. It evens out that playing field. So New York City, for municipal elections, we're talking about city council, public advocate, comptroller, and the mayor, and the 5 borough presidents can all run under that program. And we've had many people, especially like Letitia James, who ran under that program for many years very successfully. And, we're always looking to increase opportunities. We believe that if more people are active in elections, not just voting, that we'll have a more representative city.
Well, we appreciate you guys, man. It's dope. It's dope. And also it's dope to have this kind of access to information, right? Because it's always been very hard as a person not involved in politics to follow things. And this site is pretty damn good. So we appreciate you.
Yeah, it was important for us to come on here. I hear you guys talking about elections all the time. So I appreciate keeping that conversation at the forefront. For us, that's all we can do, right? Just keep the conversation going.
Yep, that's right. Sabrina Castillo, Director of Partnerships and Outreach at the New York City Campaign Finance Board. They also have something else amazing on here when you go to their website about tracking the money in the city, follow the money, and following the money and transparency of the city, which I feel is an amazing thing, so people can actually read up on how money's being spent and city funds are being spent. So that's amazing too.
Yeah, you can track what every candidate fundraises through that app.
Amazing. That's what we need, transparency. Sabrina, thank you so much.
Thanks, Sabrina.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Thank
and
you,
everybody,
guys.
go to NYC. Is it vote.nyc? And
voting.nyc.
voting.nyc, and you can get your ballot, get all your stuff handled right there.
Yeah, and just remember, if you want to go out and early vote, it's going on right now.
There it is. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Take
Sabrina.
care, Sabrina.
Bye.